All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Twist and Tap. Also, with reasons unknown, I took over the Deathlock podcast for this time. So glad to have you guys here on whatever platform you're watching on, or if you're watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching on the Deathlock podcast. And if you're subscribed and following on the Twist and Tap podcast, thank you for watching in my homepage as well. Glad to have you guys here. Those that join in, if you are the replay, then hashtag drop dead twice DDT to let me know that you guys are a replay watcher. Anyways, we, as the title implies, are going to go over the 2024 Survivor Series War Games PLE and just kind of talk about each of the matches and, of course, give the results. And was I correct on any of my predictions? So yeah, let's kind of dive into it. This is going to be pretty interesting, but nonetheless, glad to have you guys here taking over the Deathlock podcast channel. So hopefully B-Tech, you guys know him as Mike the Biz, is cool with that. He had no idea I was going to go live and include his wrestling podcast channel in my podcast today, but that's cool. Anyway, shout out to the channel sponsor, Helium Mobile, $20 a month, unlimited talk, text, and data. If you'd like to try them out, use the promo code from basically the QR code right here, and it'll stay in the upper left corner right there for those who want to take advantage of that in the future. But nonetheless, let's just kind of get in and talk about Survivor Series 2024 War Games. And what a man. There were some goods, there were some bads, and I'm going to talk about it. And you know what? Nothing is sacred, so you guys can agree to disagree with me. We're not that type of channel on either one of the channels. We're not that type. So anyways, so I will go over the victories as well as my thoughts of the match. And I'm looking at the Bleacher Report, and so I'm just going to be going off how they have it set. I know that, it was a little bit different because Survivor Series opened up with the Women's War Games. You had then the single matches in between, followed by the Men's War Games match, which was pretty awesome. It was pretty good. I'll be giving my thoughts, my commentating on it, just to kind of go over. I've been rambling on. Let's get into the first one. So the first one that I kind of want to go over, like I said, it's not in order. The first one I want to go over is the Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus Intercontinental Championship match. And you know what? To me, I feel like that there might be a possibility that Sheamus may capture the Intercontinental Championship in the future, because again, at Survivor Series, they brought that up during the triple threat match. They brought up the fact that it's the one title that has eluded Sheamus since him being in the WWE. And to some people may wonder why. He's a multiple-time WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion. Why are they so fixated on the Intercontinental Championship? And you know what? It's the one title that he hasn't had. And obviously, there is a deep connection with Sheamus and the Intercontinental Championship as to why that he's chasing this title. So to me, when I was watching and listening to commentation, from Michael Cole and them, I'm like, they're bringing this up. They're talking about Sheamus and the Intercontinental Championship. It's like a teaser. Like, are they trying to see fan reaction if we would want Sheamus as the Intercontinental Champion? Or are they planning on giving it to him going down the road here soon? Like, was this triple threat match as a triple threat match to have? And maybe Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus develop a more extensive rivalry leading up to a point where Sheamus will challenge Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship down the road after settling that beef with Kaiser. It can formulate so many ways storyline-wise. You can build upon this. You can build it out. However, for the match in itself, I'm going to rate these matches between 1 and 5 stars. 5 stars obviously being spectacular, 1 star being very shitty. And let me just say this, the Braun Breaker, Ludwig Kaiser, Sheamus match, I gave that a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Literally throughout the match, Kaiser played the great role of, the heel and the annoying heel, right? His body posture, his stances, his poses, his facial expressions really kind of set that off for the match to kind of get people annoyed with him. The fact that, Braun Breaker to me is... I see the potential in Braun Breaker in the future. But right now, to me, he seems very one-dimensional. You could disagree with me if you guys feel that way. I feel like Braun Breaker is a one-dimensional person right now at this point. Like, I understand he's not trying to live off his father and his uncle's legacy. Totally get it. Fine, go with it. Do you. But it doesn't elude from the fact that people know who you are. And if you're really trying to make a name for yourself without having to resort to the lineage of your father and your uncle, then why do the dog-faced gremlins, bark? Why do the like, why do that at all? You know what I mean? So Braun Breaker just seems very one-dimensional. I do got to give it to him. As far as in-ring talent, he's great. He's got the speed. He's got the stamina. He's got the charisma. He's got the power. So he has a lot of things going for him. Good, he does. The problem is that when it comes to storyline and feuding, to me, he seems very one-dimensional. I don't see anything that really kind of carries him over the top as someone to really keep your eyes on at this current moment. So down the road in the future, Braun Breaker, yeah, I'm sure with a little bit more time, a little bit more development, and he could start bringing some sort of reality to his character and storyline development wise, being able to actually hold a story and carry it over. Because that's what it is all about, pro wrestling. Like, yes, we love the action, we love the in-ring moves, locks, holds. We love all that, but we also like a little bit of drama behind it. We also like the storytelling. We also like build-ups and things like that. The excitement, we really need that. So Braun Breaker, being someone I feel like in the future will be at that level. I think now's the time to really kind of push that out of him. So I don't need him to drop the Intercontinental Championship right now to achieve that, but I would like to see a little bit more out of him. Braun Breaker retained his Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, Sheamus coming very close to winning it. Kaiser pulling the referee out of the ring, which would have led to a 3 count. So this is why I feel like that, there may be a possibility that Sheamus is finally going to win the Intercontinental Championship. May it be at the Royal Rumble or even at WrestleMania. It could lead to that point. We have to see. But yeah, Breaker retains. Now, next on the list here, like I said, it's not in order, but next on the list here, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So first of all, Shinsuke Nakamura coming back to the WWE after taking a little hiatus. Great new look, great new aura about him, great new personality. Don't drop the ball. WWE, Paul Levesque, don't drop the ball with Shinsuke. You guys have something here now. Watching Survivor Series with my daughter and her being a big fan of The Undertaker and her just right off the key looking at Shinsuke Nakamura and saying that he's got Undertaker vibes is absolutely insane. And she's not a wrestling fan like I am. She likes to watch it, but she's not rooted into storylines past, present, and possibly in the future. She's not rooted in a work. She's not rooted in a shoot. She doesn't do all the backstage stuff and realities of realities when it comes to pro wrestlers, WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan Pro, Ring of Honor. She's not that type of fan yet. She's getting there. As she watches these things with me and she asks me questions and I tell her what I know, and it just gets her more and more involved. But she got that. Now, I'm not saying that Shinsuke is trying to rip off The Undertaker, but we know what he's talking about when, basically, I guess the backstory for Shinsuke is that he was very frustrated with the WWE and how things was going with his career. He went away, apparently self-meditated and got himself together, but came back as like a possessed Shinsuke Nakamura. Some entity lives within him, bringing this dark side of him out. I said in a tweet or in a post on X and on Threads that Shinsuke Nakamura reminds me of Iori Yagami from King of Fighters when he's in the Orochi form or the possessed demon form of his bloodline. Shinsuke reminds me of that. Just the makeup of the blood beneath his skin darkening to kind of just show that there's something living within him and kind of driving him now. And capturing the United States Championship, to me, in my opinion, was a good fitting. Probably not a very popular point stated here, but I feel like LA Knight has been a very vanilla United States champion. Like, I was happy to see him go for a singles title, and I thought it was about time that they pushed him. You know, him losing to Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. You know, I felt like, you know, they were going to lose momentum behind LA Knight. And I think this might be the product of that, considering the fact that when LA Knight was US champion, it was very bland. There wasn't a lot going on for it. And I would say the same thing for Cody Rhodes. Oh my God, he talked about Cody Rhodes. Yes, I did. And I'm saying that Cody Rhodes' title run is also very vanilla and bland. I don't see a lot of excitement behind it. I don't see a lot of, good buildups for it. And it's, the same I would say about LA Knight. Like, great wrestler. I love LA Knight's gimmick. I love it when he's a heel. And now that as a face, I think he would probably be better as a heel again. I just think he just needs to kind of sit in that for a while. So, dropping the US Championship, to me, doesn't hurt LA Knight's career at all whatsoever. It doesn't, it doesn't have that sting that would hurt one's flow within the company. Now, if we start seeing LA Knight doing very outlandish, jokeable things, kind of like what R-Truth does, then we can see that maybe the guys in the back have lost faith in LA Knight and no longer see him as in the A list, but now dropping to the B list. But we'll see how that goes over time with LA Knight's character development going forward. Now that he suffered a loss to Shinsuke Nakamura, we do know that he is going to have some sort of clause to rematch for the U.S. title, and we'll have to see how that goes. As far as Shinsuke Nakamura winning the United States Championship, I think it's a good way to push him, and to push him in a good direction to kind of get him up there where he's contending for the WWE Championship, where he's contending for the World Heavyweight Championship. Like, we need to see Shinsuke at that level. Otherwise, let him go back to New Japan Pro or to another promotion where he can basically showcase the thing that we love about him. Because when Shinsuke debuted in WWE, a lot of fans were upset. Of course, they were happy he was there, but they were upset on how watered down he is compared to where he was before. If you know Shinsuke Nakamura's past, and you know his days of MMA, you know his days of New Japan Pro, and you know in WWE he was watered down, especially leaving out of NXT and into the main roster, it was watered down. And so we're hoping that they let him thrive in what he's done and done best for himself in character development. I feel like that, they can really do a good push with Shinsuke. LA Knight rematching for the title, I think it's a good thing. I think it builds a little bit more layers. And if LA Knight can pull it off to make this a much longer feud between him and Shinsuke, I think that would do great for both of their careers in WWE currently right now at this time. Because LA Knight hasn't really had a good storyline going for him. And even if he was to he dropped the belt to Shinsuke's going to carry it for 3-4 months, and LA Knight will have rematch after rematch, eventually getting the rematches of rematches, allowing him to recapture the United States Championship. I think would be a good move if they were to go that route. But nonetheless, the LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura match, I gave it a 2 stars out of 5. And the reason I gave it that, there were certain things about the match that just didn't feel natural, didn't flow like it would. When you have something like this going on, I mean, they're trying to compensate their storytelling and stating in the fact that, LA Knight looks like he's off his game, he's Shinsuke's in his head and everything like that. And that's great if you're going to pitch that story-wise for people listening at home to kind of just say, okay, this is why we're not getting the LA Knight that we're used to. But at the same time, too, when you look at the match, the moves and things like that, you can see that, it wasn't organically there. And partially it could be blamed on the fact that Shinsuke has been out for a while on hiatus. So maybe a little bit of ring rust as far as, performing in the ring. Could be that. Could be LA Knight not really knowing how to make this match work in favor to where, they both look good. I mean, that is a champion's responsibility, is not only to carry the title, promote the title, push the brand, and develop good stories with each contender who becomes a rival. But a champion also has to make the challenger look good. Like you have to put them on. That's one of the quintessential things of being a pro wrestler, right? And I felt like the LA Knight didn't really do a good job of doing that, much less was Shinsuke really in that. To me, it just seemed like Shinsuke wasn't really in that moment, right? Like he second guessed, doing certain things. So 2 out of 5 stars. I give the LA Knight Shinsuke Nakamura match. However, congratulations to Shinsuke in capturing the United States Championship and this new look and this new aura of Shinsuke. I am loving, and I can't wait to see what they do further with him, whether he's with or without the United States Championship. Okay. Next up, Gunther versus Damian Priest World Heavyweight Championship match. This match, I gave it a 3 stars to rate it. I gave it a 3 stars because I thought it had the typical classics that you would find in any championship match, especially for a prestigious title like the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championships. Usually, champion's advantage. Usually, challenger has to overcome some sort of ordeal, like maybe a small injury that the champion exploits to try to hype up, of the challenger possibly capturing the championship. And, we got that. We had what Damian's been talking about for weeks, that he sees fear in Gunther's eyes, but then all of a sudden, Gunther sees pain in Damian's eyes in this match and exploits it and goes after that left arm and does the abuse and everything to it. This match could have been a 4-star match in my opinion, but the fact that they allowed, again, Finn Balor to cost Damian Priest the World Heavyweight Championship again, the same way he costed him the World Heavyweight Championship when he betrayed him and kicked him out of the Judgment Day. And to me, I'm kind of over the Judgment Day going after Damian Priest, going, after Rhea Ripley. You know what? The Judgment Day has been dominated by the Terror Twins, whether they're together or separate. Rhea and Damon have proven that they dominate over Finn Balor and Liv Morgan. And so the feud doesn't need to be there anymore. It's only costing the Judgment Day more and more of the reputation that they have built when Rhea and Damian were part of the group. They built a reputation of take no prisoners onslaught that they would lay out on enemies and rivals. And now they just look like a bunch of, 15-year-old kids lashing out because their cell phones got taken away. Finn Balor lost to Damian, so Damian was supposed to move on to bigger things. An interesting story was developing with Dirty Dom and Finn not really being on the same page. And I think that's where they should focus storyline-wise, of another implosion of the Judgment Day with Finn and Dom. This would actually be a great time for Dom to push face again. It's a strong possibility he could do it. In the face of the fact that, that he would be looked at and excommunicated from the Judgment Day because he was he was challenging for the, for a spot to be a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Finn Balor not feeling like, like he's good enough too, and obviously upset and jealous of the fact that Dominic had this opportunity. I think that there's something there. Like, Dominic has been with the Judgment Day. He has played heel. He has played a very good heel for a while now. It's time for him to have a face turn, and not a face turn where he rejoins his dad. We don't need him going back to Rey Mysterio. But, we obviously can see Dom can stand on his own too, without the need of his father or, family, friends like Edge or anyone to stand beside him. He can do it on his own. So we kind of need this. And I'm kind of hoping it. Now, what would this spell for Liv Morgan? Liv Morgan can easily drop Dom. I know when she, the beginning of the Revenge Tour and her feuding with Rhea and challenging Rhea for the Women's World Championship. Well, not challenging, but defending against her and everything when Rhea returned back from injury. I know Liv made it a point to say that Dom goes for girls that look like her, but that could have been like her stigma to like take away from Rhea, like she said, and just kind of show like she really didn't care for Dom. She just wanted to take what Rhea had, and so she can drop Dom and not have to think twice about it because she's got Raquel Rodriguez in her corner. She's got the rest of the Judgment Day in her corner. Dom could be excommunicated from the group under Finn's jealousy. Dom can turn face. Dom can feud with Finn, leaving Damian to feud with Gunther, whether they're going to give the title back to Damian or not, but at least have a straight up match. That's the way that I see it. So, 3-star match with Gunther versus Damian Priest. Gunther retains. Outside interference helped Gunther retain. Shout out to Gunther for kicking Finn Balor in the face for interfering in his match. Even though Gunther's a heel, that was very honorable to take out Finn to make sure Finn has no role. But then again, there's also this little thing that maybe out of fear that Gunther went to Finn for help to make it look like that, Finn just wanted to interfere on his own. And maybe that could set up a feud between Finn, Gunther, and Damian Priest if we find out today if Gunther came to Finn for help and then kicked him in the face to make himself look like he didn't, There's always those factors. I love the way stories can just have a twist to it. And if you really sit and think about all these stories, you really can come up with something fascinating. Do I think that that's what the role is? We'll find out tonight once, the aftermath of the PLE. I believe we're going to have CM Punk come out and talk. I believe maybe Seth Rollins will confront CM Punk for getting involved in the men's War Games, teaming with Roman, being the fifth man, being the opposite fifth man spot of Bronson Reed, who Seth has had, issues with. We'll see what happens there. For those that are watching, if you watch Survivor Series as a whole, what did you think about it? Did you think the entire PLE was a 5-star PLE, 4-star, or 3-star? Let me know. If you're watching the replay, comment below what you guys think. As far as my predictions so far, I believe the Braun Breaker Intercontinental Championship match, I said that Kaiser was going to win, Ludwig Kaiser. So I was wrong on that one. I said I wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to win. He won. I felt like Gunther was going to retain. I was right about that. Now moving on to the women's War Games match, which I gave this a 4-star rating. It would have been a 5-star rating, but there was one issue I had with the women's War Games match, and I'll explain that in a little bit. As far as the winners of the match, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Bayley, and Naomi took the War Games match to a victory. Big shout out to them. Rhea's mask, oh my god, when she came out, that mask was badass as hell. The Goat Devil mask was insane. It almost reminded me similar to the mask that MJF wears at times when he portrays the devil. Rhea did, but it was a half mask. It wasn't a full mask. It did have the devil horns, and it had the goat horns kind of like lock around her head to keep the mask in place for her wrestling match. Very, very, very cool. Very good. I love the way that the match was. I love the fact that I believe it was Bayley who started out. Bayley started out. Nia Jax started out. And I thought that was pretty interesting. The dynamics of the match was really interesting once War Games officially began, which if you didn't know how the rules went, it's 2 teams of 5 women, okay? 2 women, 1 from each team starts out the match. So they go into the ring under the cage. They begin to do battle while the other 8 are locked in the cage, in their cell. They have to stay in their cell. The first 5 minutes is one-on-one, so it was one-on-one between Bayley and Nia Jax. After 5 minutes, the team with the advantage, a member of their team would come out, which I believe the advantage was for Rhea's team. So Naomi came out, I believe. Naomi came out. They double teamed Nia, but Nia proved to be too strong for them. Little by little, after 3 minutes, each member came out until all 10 members were inside the rings. Then War Games was officially begun. First person to score a pinfall or submission wins it for their team. If you escape the cage, you forfeit for your team. So there were some great spots in that match, great moments. I know people are going to talk about Io Sky and her over the moon salt with the trash can on her body as a shield. At the same time as I believe it was Tiffany Stratton leapt off the other corner of the cage, come crashing down on those inside the ring. That was great spot moments. A lot of the action in there was pretty good. A lot of the twists and turns, weapons that they brought into the ring were fine. I thought they spent too much time looking for weapons than actually getting in there and getting the matches going. Obviously trying to eat time, but the problem I had with this match was that the weapons that they grabbed, whether it was a table, a chair, a kendo stick, it seemed like they didn't know what to do with these weapons or how they should incorporate these weapons into the match. A toilet lid cover, when to strike their opponent, it was like there were things that were botched really bad in the women's War Games match. Like when it came to them just executing their technical wrestling skills, right? Their locks and holds, their slams, their high flying movements, their strikes and kicks, they were fine. All these women were fine in this match. All these women were fine. It was when they had a weapon. When they had a weapon, that's when it was just like, what are you doing with the weapon? What happened? And so that's the only reason why that I gave it a 4-star match. Other than that, like I said, Rhea Ripley's team won. I gave it a 4-star rating. Big shout outs to them. And do I think that Bayley attacked Jade Cargill? I don't think so. I think Bianca Belair did it. One thing I noticed about Bianca Belair in this match, and maybe most people don't know, but like the two long braids could be significant of her and Jade's partnership, and that she was fighting for her and Jade in that ring. Or it could just be the fact that, they were a cohesive unit and now they're split, and so it signifies them breaking up as a team. We'll have to see as that plays out. I don't think it was Rhea Ripley who attacked Jade Cargill. I don't think it was Naomi who did it. I would be shocked if it was Naomi who did it, and I seriously don't think Io Sky would do that. It put themselves in a predicament. I know a lot of people really believe Bayley was going to do it, and they thought Bayley was going to put personal issues with Io Sky to lose it for their team, because you saw moments where her and Io looked at each other. Their issue, as far as the whole storyline of Damage Control, has not been resolved. I mean, yes, Bayley took the championship away from Io Sky at WrestleMania, but since then, it's been Io, it's been Asuka, it's been Kairi Sane. Asuka is out right now, so it's just Kairi Sane and Io. They are tagging up in a team tonight, Io Sky and Kairi Sane against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, as Io Sky has a Women's World Championship title match coming up at the next PLE. So we've already heard from Rhea that Rhea's not done with Liv. However, Rhea is not going to interfere in Io's quest for World Heavyweight Championship domination. So that's pretty awesome of Rhea to not get involved. Although I feel like Rhea could get involved if Rhea is no longer interested. And I don't know why there's a fly in here. It must have come in because it's cold outside, so it's trying to hide in my room. Get out. But anyways, Rhea could, if she doesn't care for the women's championship right now and is solely focused on getting back at Liv Morgan, I think that Jesus, flies like bugging me. I think that she could cost Liv Morgan the Women's World Championship, giving Io Sky the victory. But I don't think they're going to put the belt on Io right now. I think they're going to keep it on Liv. Liv is pretty much banging with the title right now, annoying the fuck out of people. And so, no, it looks good. It looks good. Finally, let's get into the men's War Games match. The OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn, along with the fifth member, CM Punk, brought in by Paul Heyman, against the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. The OG Bloodline becomes victorious. So both Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are 3 for 3. Okay? They were in the 2021 War Games. They were in the 2022 War Games. No, they were in the 2022 War Games, 2023 War Games, and 2024 War Games. And each time that Jay and Sammy were in it, their team won. So 3 for 3 for them. But OG Bloodline and CM Punk victorious. Great match. Great match. 5 out of 5 stars on this match. I got to give it to them. There were some great moments. There were moments where the new Bloodline looked dominant. There were moments where the OG Bloodline showed why years of experience, are resilient to the tactics of the new Bloodline. We saw CM Punk and Roman have a little bit of bitterness between each other. We saw CM Punk save Roman Reigns, which puts a damper on Seth Rollins when Seth says that CM Punk only cares about CM Punk. If that is true, then why would Punk save Roman from a tsunami splash from Bronson from the top of the cage? Why? He would just let that happen. So there's a lot of angles that comes from this. First of all, do we think that Sami Zayn is betraying the OG Bloodline? I don't think so. And I don't think the phone that he threw on the couch was Roman's phone. I think that was his own phone, honestly. So Sami Zayn being a double agent, I don't see that at this point. Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn rekindling their friendship. You guys saw they did their handshake. Jimmy and Sami work cohesively together as a team like they used to in the past before Sami betrayed the Bloodline for Kevin Owens. Jey Uso now also great friends with Sami Zayn. So what they should have been before this whole civil war, they are now. The Usos consist of Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami Uso. They're the Usos. Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, the only tribal chief. And you got CM Punk, the best in the world. The finish was a little more theatrical than what I would have wanted in the match, obviously, but it was still great to see. It was good to see Jay with a super kick, Jimmy with a super kick, Jay and Jimmy double super kick, Sammy with the haluva kick, Punk with the GTS, and then Roman Reigns with the spear on Solo. So Solo had a rough fucking night. Solo had a lot of feet. So if I was Solo Sikoa, hopefully when he went back to the hotel after realizing the loss that he took to the OG Bloodline and Punk, that he got some tough acting to acting, because man, that was a lot of feet to eat, and this fly's really bugging the crap out of me right now. I'm gonna have to get rid of that thing later because it's bugging me, annoying. Well, obviously, but it's cold outside, so obviously it's in here. Oh well. Anyways, Jacob Fatu possibly hurting his leg in this match. I don't know. I'm not sure. A slight possibility, and Jesus Christ, Fly, leave me alone. And Bronson Reed, man. Bronson Reed taking such a huge splash. Such a huge splash off that cell. I give it up to Bronson Reed for that one. Honestly, I do. Is Solo holding Bronson responsible for the new Bloodline's loss? I absolutely guarantee, obviously, Solo playing the heel tribal chief and more narcissistic than anything, he's not going to suffer that loss on his shoulders, even though he was kicked, 4 times, GTS and speared. He's going to put it on Bronson. He's not going to put it on Jacob Fatu. He's not going to want to burn that bridge with Jacob. He's not going to want to burn the bridge with the Tongans. Obviously, the most expendable one is Bronson Reed. Will this turn Bronson Reed face? Will Bronson Reed get annihilated by the Bloodline, causing him to kind of go away for just a little bit and come back with a vengeance on them? But if they do that, what's that spell for Reed and Rollins? Does Reed and Rollins continue? Or does Seth look at what happened at War Games as an act of a challenge by seeing Punk team up with the guy that he refused to team up with? Remember, they went to Seth for help, and he said no. He will never team with Roman, but I do believe that Seth, out of some form of jealousy, will in fact take that as a slap in the face by CM Punk. CM Punk taking the spot that was offered to him at first. Punk working with Roman. Punk in there with Bronson Reed. And Punk now having the ground to say that he stepped up to what Seth wouldn't step up to, throwing more insult to injury. As we know, Punk loves to kind of rub people the wrong way, which could set up for what we want, a Rollins versus Punk WrestleMania. This could set up to it. They can start building towards it, right? Royal Rumble is the next major PLE, and that kicks off the road to WrestleMania. So where does this go from there? This fly is like really hanging around. You guys see him? He must love wrestling. It's absolutely annoying, these bugs, but anyways. So for the whole PLE and how I feel about it, I feel that it was a 3 3/4 stars PLE. It was pretty dang good. Just some things didn't really match up with me. Some things didn't really get away. Go listen to the show from a safe distance and shut up. Anyways, there were just some things that I felt like, they could have been on their A game for. They could have, I don't know, rehearsed it better so that way everything flowed much better in some of the mid matches. Especially the women's War Games match. If you're going to bring weapons into the ring, I know they want to, come up with creative ways that are like, signatures of the women's division that men won't do with chairs or tables or, garbage cans, etc. But, perfect it. Nothing sucks worse when you're trying to swing a chair a certain way and your opponent thinks they're going to get whacked with that chair one way and realize you're not swinging it that way. So they're trying to walk into it and take a bump and try to sell it. And it's just so unnatural. That so ruined it for the women's War Games match. But other than that aspect of it, everything about that match was solid. Loved the way that it played out. Loved the bat being introduced. Loved the fact that when Io Sky used the freaking fire extinguisher that blinded the women in the ring, Rhea took advantage, and the handcuff that was meant to handcuff her to the ropes, she handcuffed Raquel Rodriguez, being able to put Liv through a table with an off the turnbuckle riptide smashed right in through the table, and Rhea getting the pinfall victory, which was a great way to put it out. The fact that Solo took all those hits and a spear and was pinned by Roman was a good way to go out. Does this end the Bloodline feud? No, it doesn't. What happens now that both bloodlines have competed, team versus team, now it comes down to the main tribal chief. Roman Reigns to face Solo Sikoa, and the winner takes the Ulafala. Okay, the right to be known as the only tribal chief, and the Samoan Ulafala that signifies that the person wearing it is the tribal chief. We'll see all that pan out. But anyways, we'll see how more things develop of the aftermath of Survivor Series PLE 2024, starting tonight with Monday Night Raw. Seeing what happens there, as well as the follow-up to it with Friday Night SmackDown. We'll also be reporting on Twist and Tap about the Women's United States Championship Tournament, as well as the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament, and how do I feel about these new titles introduced? What does it do for the women's division? All that in a future episode. If you're watching on the Deathlock podcast, thank you so much for coming in. Shout out to Mike the Biz. I stole his channel for today, so this may happen. You never know when I'm going to steal his channel. If you are watching from the Twist and Tap podcast, thank you guys so much. If you're not subscribed to that, you can find me up on the Twist and Tap podcast. Subscribe. I'll throw up some shorts and do some live podcasts as well as videos from time to time. All things wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan Pro, Ring of Honor, and even some YouTube backyard wrestling. I found some videos that are pretty damn cool, so I'll start reacting to those. I'll start reactions on those and just telling you my thoughts of it. Until then, thanks Titus for being here and a part of it. Thank you for watching. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all be cool and be safe. Love, peace, chicken grease, and we out of here.